Welcome everyone to the second seminar of 2025, and today it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. TNC Vidya's seminar. Dr. TNC completed a PhD at the Center for Ecological Sciences at the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. She then undertook one postdoctoral contract at the same institute between 2004 and 2006. Subsequently, she traveled to South Africa to undertake a one-year postdoctoral fellowship in the Department of Botany and Zoology at Stellenbosch University. She then returned to Bangalore in India to conduct research at the Evolutionary and Organismal Biology Unit of the Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research from 2008 to 2017, ultimately becoming a professor at the same institution. Through this period, Dr. Vidya has conducted research focusing on vertebrate behavior and socioecology, with a particular focus on understanding the socioecology of the Asian elephant in southern India. This research will be presented during today's seminar. Dr. Vidya will give a presentation alongside two PhD students today that are under supervision, Atyatike and Ankana Sanyal. So Ankana has done a bachelor and master in zoology from the University of Calcutta, With a keen interest in natural history, ecology, and animal behavior, she decided to do her PhD in the Animal Behavior Lab at Jinskars, Bangalore. She's currently studying the socioecology and dispersal of male Asian elephant in Kabini. She is broadly interested in looking at sex bias differences in foraging behavior, its role in sexual segregation in mammals, and in understanding the process of sex bias dispersal and the proximate cause for it. Atira TK is a PhD student at the Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research in Bangalore, and her current research focuses on association and reproductive skew among male Asian elephants. Broadly, her research interests lie in the areas of mating system, sexual selection, and social behavior. Both bachelor and master degrees are in zoology, with a master degree from the Central University of Kerala. Um, Dr. Vidya, the floor is yours. You can start the presentation.
Thank you so much, Alexis, and thank you for inviting us to speak today. Uh, we will talk today about some of the work we've been doing on Asian elephants in southern India. As you know, there's a diversity of social organization and structure amongst animals. And socio-ecological theory tries to explain this diversity in terms of evolved responses to the ecological conditions that animals have faced. So, according to the socio-ecological theory that has been developed largely in primates, female social organization is shaped by resource risk distributions that give rise to varying competition regimes and thereby structure female societies with different kinds of within and between group dominance relationships. These female societies, along with the temporal distribution of fertile females, give rise to an environmental potential for polygamy, which can result in varying degrees of monopolization of males. This results in different mating systems and male relationships. Now, in megaherbivores like elephants, resources themselves can also affect male relationships. The various studies that have tried to test predictions of socio-ecological theory have either compared societies of multiple species in an evolutionary framework or have tried to examine ecological differences within populations and their expected patterns of sociality, which is in some sense testing for plasticity. And this is what we also do. So today I will talk a bit about resource distributions and competition regimes in females. And Ankana and Adira will talk a bit about male dispersal, mating systems, and male relationships. So our study species, the Asian elephant, is found in a wide range of habitat types. They are primarily graminivorous, but feed on a large variety of plants. Adult males and females experience very different societies, with females being philopatric, remaining in the groups into which they were born, and males showing dispersal. Females are very social, and this sociality, along with the range of habitat types that they use, makes the species a suitable one to examine socio-ecological predictions. So, in order to study this, we set up the Kabini Elephant Project in Nagarhole and Bandipur National Parks in southern India in 2009, where we've been studying them ever since. Nagarhole and Bandipur have different types of forests, but a majority of the forests are of the deciduous kind, both moist and dry deciduous forests. Between Nagarhole and Bandipur lies the Kabini Reservoir, which was formed as a result of the Bichanhalli Dam being built on the river Kabini in the 1970s. The receding backwaters of this reservoir form the Kabini grassland in the dry season and attracts a lot of elephants and other herbivores to this grassland. So a lot of our behavior work comes from this Kabini grassland, although we sample elephants from throughout Nagarhole and Bandipur National Parks. This is the only such project following a very large number of elephants, Asian elephants, for a long period of time, and a lot of people have helped carry out this work. We collect different kinds of data. We identify individuals, collect data on births, deaths, age structure, and sex ratio, genetic data to examine relatedness, data on associations and dominance relationships amongst males and females, as well as other behaviors such as allomothering. We also collect data on locations and space use, as well as patterns of resource availability to examine how it affects dominance and space use. So we first identify individuals using a combination of various natural physical characteristics like ear shapes, ear folds, nick stairs and holes on the ear length, tail characteristics, and back characteristics. And we age individuals using shoulder heights, which in the case of the Asian elephant is twice the 4-foot circumference, as well as skull size and other features. Adults, as adult females are at least 10 years old and adult males are at least 15 years. So we've identified over 1,000 individuals, and we can therefore track individuals over time, like the male that you see here, or this female who's seen with her mother here and with her calf 10 years later. Now, coming to female social organization and structure, female Asian elephants show fission fusion societies, in which a group is a set of individuals that we see in the field together and that show coordinated movement or affiliative behavior. These groups are not fixed in size. Groups are shown here as these thick black circles, and they can change in size and composition across time. My PhD student Nandini looked at thousands of such female group sightings and constructed this social network to look at female associations. In this social network, every circle is an adult female, every connection is an association between adult females, and you can straight away see that this network is highly non-random. There are these clusters of females. The different colors represent the most inclusive social organization, which we call the clan. Now, all the individuals of a clan are usually not seen together, and they may be seen in the field in the form of these different groups, but one can recover this clan from this analysis through modularity. We also looked at whether there were hierarchical levels within these clans, and found that there were some clans in which there was a multi-level society in which females may associate preferentially with other females within the clan, whereas there were other clans in which there were individual-based societies in which different individuals associated with one another roughly to the same extent. Now, coming to agonism amongst females, as you know, agonistic interactions refer to dominance and subordinance behaviors which occur during interference or contest competition. So if you think of these darker green areas as areas of high quality food and light green as representing low quality food, according to socio-ecological predictions, we would expect agonistic interactions within social groupings when there are these small high quality resource patches that single females can monopolize or usurp. Whereas we would expect agonistic interactions between social groupings when there are large high quality patches that an entire group can monopolize or usurp. In addition, we would also expect the number of agonistic interactions between social groupings to be positively related to the number of groups and the number of agonistic interactions within social groupings to be positively correlated with group size. This kind of ecological model of female social relationships has largely been examined in primates. And even in primates, studies that relate this to food availability have been done in the context of within group contest. There's also been a greater emphasis on frugivores than folivores because fruits are thought to be a high quality resource. Now, we set out to do this in the Asian elephant, which is primarily graminivorous, feeds on grass in our study area. And as I said, there's high fission fusion dynamics within clans, where these thick black circles represent the groups that are seen in the field, and these dashed lines represent the clan. So given that they feed on low quality resource and given fission fusion dynamics, one would not expect very high levels of agonism within clans. However, there's also no territoriality, and different clans have overlapping home ranges, which made us think initially that there would be low rates of agonism both within and between clans. In fact, a previous study in the same landscape, following radio-collared elephants for over 3 years, found only one agonistic between-clan encounter during the 3 years in this forest habitat. However, when we started looking at the Kavani grassland, we found agonism to occur both between clans as well as within clans. And we wondered whether this grassland that was found here was a high resource food patch, which therefore gave rise to between clan agonism that was not seen in the forest. So our first question was to look at grass abundance in the Kavani grassland and find out whether it was higher than that in the neighboring forest habitat. I must say here that the forest habitat also has grass in the understory, and therefore it was not immediately evident if the grassland had higher grass abundance. So another PhD student, Hansraj Gautam, set out to address these questions. The second was that if the grassland had higher grass availability than the forest, were the rates of agonism between clans higher than that within clans in this grassland habitat, which would represent a large resource patch? We also wanted to find out whether the rate of within clan agonism was explained by variation in grass abundance, grass variability or dispersion, and group size, and whether the rate of between clan agonistic encounters was related to grass abundance, grass variability, and the number of clans in the zone. So just to recap, if we find dominance or subordinance interactions within a group, this would be within clan agonism. If two groups of two different clans approached each other and there were dominance or subordinance interactions between these females, this would be agonism between clans at the level of these different individual females. Now, we can also potentially think of all of these agonistic interactions at the level of individual females as a single between clan agonistic encounter at the level of the entire group or the entire clan. And there could be a group level or a clan level winner if one clan is successfully able to move the other clan away from that feeding area. Now, the reason I'm talking about group and clan interchangeably here is because we found that when two different groups interacted agonistically, they were always from different clans. Two different groups from the same clan did not interact agonistically. So between group agonism also corresponded to between clan agonism. So our expectation was that in the grassland, if there was higher grass availability compared to the forest, we would find a greater extent of between clan agonism compared to that of within clan agonism. We expected that if different zones in the grassland had different grass abundances, we would find a greater number of between clan agonistic encounters in zones in which there was higher grass availability or greater variability of grass if they were looking at smaller patches within these zones. We also expected a greater extent of between clan agonistic encounters to be associated with more clans in a zone. And if there was fine spatial variability within zones in grass biomass, we expected that these areas with high grass biomass or high variability in grass biomass would also be associated with greater extent of agonism within clans. A greater extent of agonism within clans would also be found if there were larger group sizes. So in order to look at grass biomass, we sampled grass availability in different areas of the forest, as well as the Kabani grassland. The Kabani grassland was divided into focal zones. Each zone had 4 plot clusters. Each plot cluster had 5 quadrats where grass was harvested. And we repeated this across different months in the dry season. We found that grass abundance in the Kabani grassland, these two sets of data points here, were about 3 times higher than that in the forest habitat. And therefore, there was habitat level patchiness of food distribution, which supported the finding that there were between clan agonistic encounters in the grassland, but not really in the forest habitat. We also found that there was variability in grass abundance in the Kabani grassland itself across different zones. So these are the different zones here on the x-axis, and there was variability across zones and months. There was also variability within zones and plot clusters within the zones. What is plotted here is a coefficient of variation in grass biomass. So in order to look at the rates of agonism amongst females within and between clans, we carried out full day observations of the different focal zones in the grassland and recorded all the agonistic interactions that occurred either within clans or between clans. We found that the rate of agonism between clans was higher than that within clans, which was again in keeping with our expectation that the grassland, if it had high grass availability, would have a greater extent of between clan agonism compared to within clan agonism. Now, we wanted to look at the correlates of within clan agonism. And in order to do that, we examined independent focal group observations of elephants that were near these plot clusters, where we had already measured grass biomass. We then modeled this rate of within clan agonism with respect to the biomass in these plot clusters, the coefficient of variation of biomass in these plot clusters, as well as female group size and month, year, and zone. We found that about 18% of the variation was explained by group size, with a small effect of group size on within clan agonism, but not by plot cluster biomass or variation in the plot cluster biomass. And finally, we looked at the rate of between clan agonistic encounters. A between clan encounter would set to occur when two different clans came to about 50 meters of each other or within a group spread of each other. These between clan encounters could become agonistic encounters if there were dominance or subordinance interactions between them. So we carried out a GLM of the number of between clan agonistic encounters, corrected for the number of clans and the area of the zone. With respect to the biomass of the zone, the variability of biomass in the zone, as well as the number of clans and the number of females in the zone. We found that over 90% of the between clan encounters became agonistic encounters. And the number of between clan agonistic encounters could be explained by the number of clans. However, the between clan agonistic encounters could not be explained by the biomass of grass in these different zones or the variability of grass in these different zones. So we found partial support for our socio-ecological predictions. If you look at differences in patch variability here, with higher patch variability as you go right, and look at between clan contest on the y-axis, the expectation is given as these dashed lines and our finding in blue lines. We found that with an increase in patch variability, there was higher between clan contest only at the habitat level if we compared the Kabini grassland with the forest habitat as expected. We did not find what we expected when we looked at different zones in the grassland and looked at between clan contest. There was an increase in between clan contest with an increase in clan density as expected. When we looked at within clan contest, with an increase in group size, there was a slight increase in within clan contest in the direction that we expected. Whereas there was no clear effect of local grass variability on within clan contest. So if we think about whether food distribution and the number of competitors affect agonistic behavior, we found partial support for food distribution affecting between clan contest, but not at a smaller spatial scale and not on within clan contest. We found that the number of competitors affected agonistic behavior, both within and between clans. It was surprising that there was a very high frequency of agonism, despite graminivory and fission-fusion dynamics. We think this could be a transient response to the high resource grassland that has been created by the Kabini Reservoir. One would have to examine other populations in order to understand if this is a generality. There are many such populations in South Asia where dams have created reservoirs in elephant habitats. And it would be interesting to look at some of these other populations. We examined the relationship between agonism and grass biomass, but it's also possible that agonism depends on grass quality and not quantity. And this is something that we are currently doing. So I will stop here and I will thank our funding agencies, the Department of Science and Technology, the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Government of India, National Geographic Society USA, and JNC ASR for funds, the State Forest Department of Karnataka for research permits and support, And apart from Nandini and Hansraj, whose work I showed, there have been a lot of other students and field staff who've helped carry out this work. Now, Ankana will present her work on male dispersal.
Am I audible? Okay, so today I'll be talking about dispersal in subadult male Asian elephants in Nagarole and Bandipur National Park, which is in southern India. Uh, Dispersal is an important phenomenon because it can influence the reproductive success of individuals, it can influence the demography, the social organization of animals, and the genetic structure of populations. Dispersal can be seen as breeding dispersal in adults or as natal dispersal in juveniles and subadults. Natal dispersal is defined as the permanent movement that an individual makes from its birth site to the place where it reproduces or would have reproduced had it survived and found a mate. And natal dispersal can be shown by both the sexes or it can be sex bias, where we see a prevalence of female bias dispersal in birds and male bias dispersal in a lot of mammals. In elephants, we see a male biased dispersal where females are the philopatric sex. So dispersal can also be occurring in two modes. One is, let us imagine that if we have a location where you have the natal home range and a natal clan where the gray animal is the male juvenile, when it disperses, if it leaves its natal home range, when it's leaving its natal clan and moves into a different location, we consider this as the locational dispersal. But in another scenario, if this juvenile male just moves out of his natal clan while remaining in its natal home range just to be in the vicinity of other natal clans that are overlapping its their home range with this males, we call this kind of dispersal as social dispersal. In Asian elephants, locational dispersal of the males had been previously inferred based on genetic data. And in African savanna elephants, there is possibly social dispersal as there was some evidence of inbreeding avoidance shown by the males in their natal range. Whether Asian elephants show social dispersal is not yet known, and we also don't know much about the process of dispersal given that there's a lack of long term studies following identified males over a period of time. Also, there can be different causes of dispersal, such as avoiding competition, parental aggression, and various other causes. In Kabini, we can look at some of these causes. And for my work, I have been focusing on the first two. In today's talk, I will be talking a little bit about parental aggression as one of the reasons of dispersal. So I will summarize the three questions that I have in this talk. First is to see if male Asian elephants are showing social dispersal in addition to locational dispersal. Second is to see at what ages do males show dispersal. And third is to see if males are dispersing because of aggressive eviction by adult females. Moving to the first part of this talk, here I was interested to see if there are different patterns in the number of times the subadult males were seen in our study area as they're growing older. And the expectation is that if the males are dispersing out, we will be seeing them less often in our given area as they're getting older. If they are dispersing in, we will be seeing them more often as they're getting older. And if they are not dispersing locationally but are dispersing socially, we expect them to see consistently over their age in our given study area. So for this, I have used the long-term sighting data and only taken out all the subadult males that belong within the age of 5 to 15 years. The study period is from the time of 2009 till 2022, and I have used males that were seen at least above 15 days for at least above 4 years. I have 52 such focal subadult males, out of which 22 had sightings for all their subadult age period of 5 to 15 years. And the total sampling effort during this whole time was around 1,500 days. The variable of interest here after this is to see how the number of times each subadult males seen each year accounted for their sampling effort. How is that varying with the age of the male? So, what I found out was that there are two mean trends. Some individuals are showing a decreasing trend in the number of times that they're seen as they're getting older, which is indicated in red in color here, which could be indicative of a locational dispersal happening. But we also have some individuals which do not show this decrease, or neither do they show any increase, which could be indicative of some males which are showing social dispersal or possibly a delayed locational dispersal. Moving to the next part, which was to see at what ages do males show dispersal. Here specifically, I was interested to see how the proportion of times that the males are seen with adult females and without adult females changing with the age, and also more specifically seeing how the proportion of times the subadult males are seen with their natal clans and non-natal clan changing with their age. So here again, the expectation is that the proportion of times that we see the males should reduce with the females should be reducing as they're getting older. And if they are dispersing, we should see them more often without females, which could include them being seen alone or with other males. Similarly, we expect them to be seen less often with their natal clan if they're dispersing, and more often with non-natal clans. I have used the same sighting data again, but this time I have only used the focal subadult males for whom their natal clans was known. And here I'm interested to see how the proportion of times of the males, proportion of times for the subadult males when they are seen with adult females versus without adult females, as well as when they are seen with natal clans versus non-natal clans, changing when across their age. So what I found was that subadult males are seen less often with adult females as they're getting older, and more without females. Similarly, we are seeing subadult males being seen less often with the natal clans and more often with non-natal clans. In Asian elephants, previously it was said that juvenile males were known to move independently between different bond groups by the age of 4 to 5 years and drift away slowly from their natal clans by the age of 10 years. And in our study population, we do see that there is a similar decline in the times we see them with the natal clan at around the age of 7 to 8 years. The subadult males are possibly starting the dispersal at this point of time. In previous study from our study population, it was also found that adult non-musk males spent around 30% of their time in mixed sex group. So adolescent males could be considered to have become independent if we see them reduce their time spent with adult females to around 30% or below. And in our study population, we see that the males are reducing the proportion of time seen with adult females to this amount by the age of 14 to 15 years, and thus subadult males seem to be behaving like adult males and thus can be considered to have finished dispersal by this age. In African savanna elephants, independence from the family was defined as the age at which the males were sighted above 80% of the times with individuals other than his natal clan, and they found that at an average age of 14 years, their males were behaving independently. We have a similar scenario where we see that the subadult males are reducing their proportion of time seen with natal clans to around 20% of time at the age of 14 to 15 years. So we can also consider them to have becoming independent from their natal clans by this age. Moving to the last part of the talk, where I want to see if males are dispersing because of aggressive eviction by adult females. Here, I wanted to see if there is a difference in the amount of dominance received by the subadult males and the subadult females from natal adult females. And the expectation is that if the subadult male dispersal is happening as a response to the increase in within group agonism, we expect that subadult males will be receiving a higher rate of dominance as compared to subadult females from adult females in the group. For this, I have used focal observation, behavioral observation, noting down all kinds of agonistic interactions between individuals. I have used video scored for the year 2018, 19, and 2022, and have used 74 focals, that is around 3,000 minutes of observation, where there was at least one subadult of the age of 5 to 10 years present in their natal clan. Using this, I have taken out all the agonistic interactions from adult females towards the subadults and calculated the dominance rate, which is the number of independent agonistic interaction, corrected for the number of adult female initiator, also for the number of subadult recipient and the focal observation duration. And we see that the subadult male are getting a higher rate of dominance. They're receiving a higher rate of dominance than subadult females. I also performed a generalized linear mixed effects model, in which we took the number of independent interaction from the natal adult females towards the subadult individuals as the dependent variable, using the sex of the recipient subadult as the fixed factor and the focal observation as the random factor. We found here as well that the sex of the subadult recipient seems to play an important role in the difference that we see in the number of agonistic interactions received. And we see that the subadult males are receiving a higher number of independent agonistic interactions as compared to subadult females. Thus, to conclude, we found that there are two types of trends that are seen in the temporal patterns of the subadult sightings in our study area. One was indicative of locational dispersal by the males moving out of the study area. The other was indicative of social dispersal or delayed locational dispersal. Thus, there might be social dispersal in addition to locational dispersal in our study population in Kabini. We also found that there's a significant decrease in how often subadult males were seen with females and with their natal clans as they're getting older. We found that males start dispersing at around the age of 7 to 8 years by slowly moving away from the natal clans, and finish dispersal at the age of 14 to 15 years by behaving like adult males in terms of the proportion of sightings seen with adult females. And finally, we see that there's some support for the aggressive eviction hypothesis of subadult males by the natal clan adult females, and this could be one of the proximate reasons for the subadult males to disperse in Asian elephants in our study population. So I would like to end my talk by thanking all the funding agencies and several people in the lab and the forest department. Thank you, and I will move to Adra.
Hello everyone. I am hoping I'm audible. Today I'll be presenting some of the work that we have done on association and reproductive success among male Asian elephants. Female and male elephants lead different lifestyles. Males, similar to females, begin their life interacting with their mothers, allomothers, and other clan members, and then gradually disperse away from their natal clan when they are adolescents. And as adults, they only form temporary associations with other male and female groups. Today, in my talk, I'll be talking two different aspects of adult male's life. One is about the pattern of association as adults, and the other is about their reproductive success. In elephants, reproductive opportunities are rare for males because of the long interbirth intervals and short periods of receptivity in females. Females are only receptive for a few days in about 4 to 5 years. Because of this, it's generally expected that male sociality will be primarily driven by competition rather than affiliative interaction. However, we find that in field, in Asian elephants and African elephants, that intense male-male competitions are there. In keeping in with this, what we find is that adult males spend most of their time alone and only about 12% of their time in all male groups and about 30% of their time in mixed sex groups. Hence, we wanted to find why adult male associations might be happening. There could be different possibilities as to why adult male association should be happening. One possibility is that males are preferring to associate with their age peers. That is, younger males are preferring to associate with younger males and older males are preferring to associate with older males in order to test their strength against each other, so as to possibly assess their relative position in the dominance hierarchy. And the other possibility is that younger males are preferring to associate with older males in order to socially learn from them. In one of the previous studies conducted in southern India, it was found that adult males were more related within locations than across locations. Hence, it's possible that if there are relatives in our populations, adult males might prefer to associate with them. However, we also found a constraint on their group sizes, possibly because of the limited resources. Hence, if that is the case, then adult males might avoid their relatives in order to reduce competition with them. Hence, we wanted to examine if age and genetic relatedness influence adult male association in our population. For this, for both our objectives, we obtained data from 2009 to 19 from individually identified individuals. We considered males to be adult if they are at least 15 years old and females to be adults if they're at least 10 years old. We obtained DNA from dung samples. We tried collecting at least 2 dung samples for each individual, possibly on 2 different days, and then PCR amplified them and genotyped them at 13 elephant-specific microsatellite loci. So for examining adult male associations, we have only used independent sightings of adult non-must males, and then we classified them into 2 to minimize any potential effects of demographic changes on association patterns and group sizes. We further classified adult male association based on the presence and absence of females. We considered males to be associating in female absence if they fed within about 50 meters of each other and there was no female in the vicinity. Further, we considered males to be associating in female presence if 2 males associated with the same female group at the same time. To examine if adult male associations with their age peers or males of the other age class were different than expected by chance, we broadly classified adult males as young adult males or old adult males. And then calculated the number of times males were sighted with males of the same or different age classes. Then conducted a randomization test and we compared our observed values with these permuted values. And what we find is that in female absence, old and young males associated less than expected by chance, suggesting associations might not be for social learning. This was further corroborated with another analysis we conducted, where we find that young males did not initiate associations more than older males initiated it with younger males. So it looks like younger males did not preferentially seek out older males for social learning. However, what we find is that older males associated more than expected chance with other older males, but younger males did not do the same and they associated as expected by chance. Hence, overall, it looks like in female absence, only older males are preferentially showing associations with their age peers, possibly to test their strength. However, this was not the case in female presence. Here, what we find is that males' association with their age peers or males of the other age classes were as expected by chance. So it doesn't look like there is any preferential association happening here. Then we went on to examine the effect of relatedness on association by quantifying association index, which we obtained using simple ratio index. And then we also obtained genetic relatedness based on Queller and Goodnight's measure. Based on this, we classified adult male dyads either as related or unrelated based on 95% of the confidence interval values around the relatedness value. What we find is that only 5% of the adult male dyads were significantly related to each other. Then we conducted a Mantle test to check for the correlation between association and genetic relatedness. And here what we find is that in both the data set, there is no correlation. So it doesn't look like genetic relatedness influences association among adult males. So to summarize the first part, what we find is that adult male associations were not influenced by genetic relatedness, and younger males did not seek out specifically older males to socially learn from them, either in female presence or female absence. However, I should emphasize here that we are not saying that social learning might not be happening. We are just emphasizing the fact that the primary reason for association might not be social learning. What we find is that in female absence, older males are the one who are preferentially associating with other older males, that is their age peers, possibly to test their strength against each other. This was not the case for younger males, either in female presence or absence. Now we move on to our second part of the talk, which is about reproductive success. As I've already mentioned that reproductive opportunities are rare for males. This, when combined with the high sexual dimorphism and continued growth in males, it is suggestive of intense competition among males, which should possibly lead to a skewed reproductive success among them. This is the first such study conducted in Asian elephants. There is no other study known. Here we have used a decade-long data to understand the reproductive success, and our first objective in that regard was to obtain the distribution of male reproductive success. Uh, Adult male elephants exhibit must in Asian and African elephants. It is a rut-like phenomenon which is characterized by high serum testosterone levels and heightened reproductive activity. In field, you can identify it by the presence of temporal secretion or by urine dribbling, which can be seen as a dark black patch in their hind legs. In Asian elephants, must is also an age-specific roving strategy that enables old males to travel widely and associate with females. However, reproduction is not restricted to the duration of must. It has been observed that males do reproduce outside this phase as well. In several previous studies, it has been shown that females prefer to mate with old must males in African and Asian elephants, and this was in fact seen to be true when some genetic studies were conducted in African savanna elephants, where they saw that age and must positively influence reproductive success. Hence, we wanted to see if age and must had a similar influence in male reproductive success in Asian elephants. To obtain the distribution of male reproductive success, we genotyped a total of 165 mother offspring pairs and a total of 120 adult males. Then paternity was assigned using maximum likelihood. We could assign paternity for 66 calves, which comprised of 40% of the calves we have sampled. And what we find is that male reproductive success was skewed, with only 30% of the males that were sampled siring at least one offspring. We also found that top 3 males had sired 23% of the offspring. The maximum number of offspring a single male had sired was 6, which was followed by a close second who sired 5 offspring. Then, to examine the effect of age and reproductive success, we quantified relative age-specific paternity success following Rasmussen et al. 2007, which is defined as the proportion of assigned calves sired by males of a given age class divided by the total number of males of that age class. And what we find is that this relative age-specific paternity success increased with age, peaked around 35-45 age class, and then shows a decline. We find that the youngest male to sire an offspring was 16 at the time, and the oldest was 55 at the time. Then we went on to examine the effect of must on paternity success by examining the must records of all the assigned fathers if he was seen within 30 days of the conception. And then categorize must to be males to be either in must or not in must. And then calculate the proportion of calves sired by must and non-must males of different age classes. Here what we find is that in youngest age class, that is in 15 to 25 age class, you can see that maximum number of offspring were sired by males who were not in must. However, this situation flips, and in all the other older age classes, it's males who are in must have sired maximum offsprings. So it looks like must is an age-specific tactic used by older males to obtain maximum reproductive success. This was also the case in 2 other populations of African savanna elephants where these studies have been conducted. There also, in older classes, must males seem to acquire maximum offspring. However, the effect of must was delayed in these 2 populations of African savanna elephants compared to our population. Hence, to summarize, reproductive success among adult males in Kabini elephant population was skewed, with only 30% of adult males siring at least one offspring. Studies of African savanna elephants have found that about 40 to 60% males had contributed to gene pool, suggesting some skew in their populations as well. Paternity increased with age and must seem to be a tactic employed by the older males to acquire matings. Also, younger males acquired some offspring, did sire some offspring, but almost always in their non-must state. I would like to thank all the co-authors and everybody associated with the project for the last 10-15 years. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, guys, for this very nice and complete talk. We already have received some question. So, like, I let you maybe decide who will reply to each of the question. So the first one is Joshua Tessi with asking if you could give some example of agonistic behaviors. Are you here,
Would
guys?
be
Yeah.
something like an elephant or pushing.
Yeah, like
Sorry, can you hear
yes.
me?
Yeah. Now we can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Examples of that.
Vidya, like we lost you. Maybe like Atia or Enkana, are you still live? Okay, Vidya,
Can you
like
hear me now?
yeah, now it's okay. You're back.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Examples of agonistic behaviors would include an elephant kicking another one or pushing another one, displacement, supplants, charges, chases, and so on.
Mhm. Okay. We have another question from David McCluskey. So, who asked, does the elephant behavior success differ between herds that are wild and those that are in managed environments such as nature reserves?
We only study wild elephants, but there are three kinds of elephant uh, husbandry practices in India. So broadly, there are wild elephants. There are elephants under semi-captive conditions, which are housed by the forest department. So these are semi-captive because these elephants come to captivity twice a day and they're given supplemental food, but they otherwise range in the forest. So these elephants would behave somewhat similarly to the wild elephants. On the other hand, we also have elephants in zoos and we have elephants with private owners. They show a lot of stereotypic behavior when they are stressed. And many of them are housed singly, so they do not have the opportunity for social behavior.
Okay, thanks. So waiting for more question, I also myself have some. So like you discussed the fact that it was also existing some clan who only have
Mhm.
male, and I was wondering
Yes.
like if only male at some point, like you say that some male could stay together.
There can be male associations.
Yeah, but so like eventually this male will just like separate and try to integrate a clan that is mixed with female.
Yeah, males disperse from their clans and go and find clans with females, but they do not permanently associate with those female clans either. So their associations are very dynamic. They spend a majority of their time alone, but they spend some of their time with female groups, and these groups can keep changing over time.
Okay,
So they
and
can associate for 10 minutes with a female group and then move away and spend the rest of their day alone and spend another hour with the female group the next day and so on. It
also like yeah,
changes
okay.
very rapidly.
Yeah, okay. So like because it was bringing to another question of that how you are integrating a new clan, like if there was a sort of procedure like to kind of
Uh,
integrate yourself in a new social clan.
okay, I have an answer to that in terms of females,
Yeah.
because males really don't do this so much. But in terms of females, we find a lot of agonism between female clans, and therefore it would be very difficult for a female from one clan to integrate into another clan. However, we have seen that if a female loses all her clan members, because a clan may have only males, and therefore there's nobody left in the clan, or the existing female members may die, then you end up with a female who's alone. And such females may integrate into another clan. We've seen one example where this happened by allo mothering, where this female who was alone tried approaching other clans in the vicinity. She almost always ended up being dominated and pushed away. But over a period of a year, she started taking care of a calf in that other clan. And after allo mothering this calf, she was accepted in the clan. And now she is integrated into the clan.
Okay. Thanks
She
for.
also had her own calf in the clan.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for your answer. So we have Claire D who asks, how severe is aggression between clans?
Very often, the aggression may not be very severe in terms of injury. So it's not as severe as male-male contests can be. But occasionally, we've had cases where a female can push the other female down to the ground. And as I said, the other female falls down. But aggression between clans is more intense than aggression within clans. The within clan aggressive behaviors are usually displacement, supplants, and nudging one another. It's not very intense, but between clans you can have females hitting each other quite hard or lashing out at each other.
Okay, thanks. We have Abby George who say that first was a great talk. And he had a question about the clans. Are there differences in how the individuals within clans communicate with each other?
We think individuals within clans communicate using sound and smell. Their sense of vision is not very highly developed, but they can use vision at short ranges. Uh, in the African savanna elephants, there's a lot of work on the use of sound on acoustics. In the Asian elephant, there's not a lot of there are studies on acoustics, but not looking at individual behavior and in the context of social groupings. So we don't really know a lot.
But we assume that certainly they
We know that they can call each other using contact calls. They can also use infrasound. They probably use smell a lot, but there aren't very many studies to test.
But we assume that they will certainly be able to recognize each other
Yes,
individually
yes,
somehow,
definitely.
because like since they have to know if they are part of the clan
Yes,
or not. But just we don't
yes.
have information
We
about
don't
how
know
they
how
do.
exactly they,
Yeah,
we
okay.
don't know how exactly they do it, but we know there is some sort of clan identity because when you have this very highly dynamic fission fusion uh, scenario going on, you have groups from the same clan that come and join each other and start feeding. You have groups from different clans that come and approach each other, and when that happens, there is aggression. So they know that some group is from whether some group is from their clan or not.
Okay, thanks a lot. So we have Natasha Rossi who say that the presentation was very interesting, like it's super interesting research, and so thanks for the talk. Then we have Phyllis Lee. Thank you all for the wonderful talks. We are very interested in the difference between male who dispersal socially versus those who roam. Are there any differences between these males?
Between the
Males,
that disperse
the males who dispersed socially and
socially and
those who roam. Yeah,
locationally.
yeah.
We don't yet know. Ankana, Ankana has a hypothesis that maybe these males that differ in their dispersal modality, whether it's social or locational, could potentially depend on how dominant their natal clan is. This is not, we haven't tested this yet. We have a few possibilities, but we don't know.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I had a last question. Like, so, I mean, you were discussing about the fact that they can definitely reproduce until late, but is there a sort of age limitation for both female and male that after a certain age it's really done, like they cannot reproduce anymore? And does it affect their position in the clan and how?
In the case of males, there is nothing to suggest that they can't reproduce when they are old. In the case of females, also from the, I know there are studies where menopause has been shown in elephants based on the average age of reproduction. But if you look at individuals reproducing, even our oldest females do have calves. So we, if you look at individuals themselves, we really don't find that very old individuals can't reproduce. We have looked at their position in the hierarchy. That's something that I didn't show today, but we find within clans that there is an age dependence of dominance within clans. So the older females are more dominant, but that does not necessarily apply to the matriarch or the oldest female. So we often find that the oldest female is not the most dominant female, but she is among the more dominant females. We find that the oldest females generally feed a little away from the group, uh, and she may not really be involved in day-to-day dominance interactions, but we do think she's very important in terms over the long term, in terms of memory, in terms of knowing where resources are. Um, so even if she's not the most dominant individual, I think she would certainly be valuable in terms of long-term ecological information.
Okay. Thanks a lot. I may have a very last question, but maybe it's something you said and I just did not pay attention at the moment. During the clan contest, I mean, is it something that is possible that, for instance, a clan will contest another clan in the exact goal to increase the size of the clan? So let's say that by winning the contest, somehow you will win some of the elephant that were in the loser clan.
Okay. Since individuals don't move from one clan to another, you can't increase the size of your clan that way.
Yeah,
But this is interesting because what we find is group size does play a role in who wins the contest. So Nandini had also done this work that I didn't talk about, where we looked at the outcome of dominance between clans. And we find that when the group size is larger, those individuals have a greater chance of winning against another clan. And therefore, this seems to be sort of a balance between larger group size increasing within clan competition and larger group size being beneficial in between clan competition. So there are these opposing forces of whether it's beneficial in between clan competition or whether it will increase within clan competition.
Okay. Thanks a lot. So I will finish with a last comment from Ashrel, who was saying that it was a really interesting talk and just like thank you all for it. I think we'll not have any more question here, but like if some of you want to ask some question later, like do not hesitate to contact TNC Vidya by email, and she will reply to you with pleasure. Yeah, so like thanks a lot for this nice talk. We are done for today. So like, I will come just with some very general announcement for the next things coming with ABL. So like we will have in July our last seminar of the year. So it will be Dr. Flavio Roques that will talk about nest building and climate control in leaf cutting hens. So this will be the 29th of July at 2 p.m. GMT. So it's, as usual, a free event, so do not hesitate to join us. And I think the same month, actually the 4th of July, so it's actually next week, we will have our first roundtable of the 2025 series. It will be about coaching early career scientists. And so like to improve scientific communication, with early career scientists. Again, it's a free event, so like do not hesitate to join us, and like you will have more link in our communication. And finally, like we opened, I think 2 days ago, like the registration and the abstract submission for the annual online conference. Once again, it's a free event, so like you are all welcome to register, all welcome to submit some abstracts. So this will be in November 2025. As usual, it will be a 2-day event with 6 sessions in order to cover every time zone for everyone to be able to attend. So please feel free to check out on this. So thanks a lot again to our speaker, Vidya, Atira, and
so
Ankana. Like it was really nice. And thanks all of you for attending.